the cloud. Recording in progress. Okay, hello everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank you all for being here. My name is Tricia Faye Hefner Rubenstein. I am the founder and lead brand high poobah of the Poetry Salon. I'm going to do something really uncharacteristic and keep this short. If you are new here, the Poetry Salon is on a mission. We want to provide inspiration, education, and feedback to all poets at a price that is affordable. We want to be able to make a strong, inspirational community accessible to folks from all over the world. And believe it or not, we are we're growing pretty fast. We have poets coming to us today from Greece, from all over the United States, from Oregon, from Pennsylvania, from California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. The Poetry Salon is made for you and me. And we offer membership for as little as $34 a month, which allows you to access our online generative writing workshops. And if you want to get feedback on your poetry, we have an in-depth feedback workshop that meets for 8 weeks at a time. The next one is starting the second week of September. If you want any information on that and our other free offerings, please email me at tricia@thepoetrysalon.com, or even just put your name in the chat and let us know you want to be on our email list, and we'll make sure you get links and all the information you need. Also, very exciting, next month, September 11th, we will be welcoming to the Poetry Salon Ellen Bass, who will be reading from her new book, Indigo, which we had the opportunity to interview her about on the Poetry Salon cast, and that reading is free to all. So please, please, please join our mailing list, and you will get the link to that reading. With that being said, I also just want to say Jenny is going to introduce the group as a whole, but I have to say this is a really special reading for me because I've known Jenny and Vanessa both through the Poetry Salon, and we've had many crossovers. I know Vanessa through method writing with Jack Breaks. And I know Jenny has studied with Stella Sue Lee, who is drawing from method writing as well. And I know you guys will probably talk about that a little bit in terms of how it intersects with Muses. But I feel like we've all kind of, we've all grown up together. We all grew up on the same block in terms of writing. We have kind of the same language and some of the same references. And I've been away from LA for 3 years now, but we're all still able to connect and intersect through the magic of Zoom and the poetry community. So this is really special to get to be here with them for the first time in a while, I think. And yeah, if I keep going on, I'll get a little verklempt about it. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over. You may see me turning off my video if I need to stretch or whatever. I would recommend for anyone, if you're going to do anything that's visually distracting, please turn off your camera and or your sound, but do what you can to make yourself comfortable. You don't have to sit up straight. That's one of the great advantages of coming to us through Zoom. You can lie down, you can listen to poetry while you're stretching, making a sandwich, whatever you got to do to be comfortable. Just don't make noise or do something that's going to distract the readers, and we'll all get along just fine. So with that said, please welcome to the stage, Jenny Lindhorst.
Thanks, Tricia. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today for this reading from the new book, Stories from the Muses, Become a Better Writer. I am Jenny Lindhorst, and I will be guiding us through the reading today. First, I want to thank Tricia and the Poetry Salon for hosting us. I too have studied with Tricia in the Poetry Salon, so I am happy to be amongst my peers. Let's start by introducing the authors who will be reading their work from this book today. First, we welcome Vanessa Poster. Give a little wave. Vanessa is a member of the Los Angeles Poets and Writers Collective and a member of the Poetry Salon. She has studied method writing with Jack Grapes for more than 20 years. Her work has appeared in Grief Dialogues, The Thieving Magpie, On the Bus, Fourth and Sycamore, and more. She has been teaching creative writing since 2017 and runs a workshop called The Right Way, Using the Written Word to Heal. She is a graduate of Stanford University. She was widowed in 2015, and her poems explore themes of grief, love, and gratitude. And next we have Neha Diaz. So give a little wave, Neha. Neha has an MBA from the University of Chicago and an MA in spiritual psychology with an emphasis in consciousness, health, and healing. When she isn't writing, you'll find her spending time with her loved ones, out hiking, on a yoga mat, or serving as a mentor and coach, supporting others to live into greater freedom and empowerment. And next we have Mur Monson. Mur has always lived among a pile of books, but she fell in love with spilling her own interior world onto the page during an adventure with cancer 7 years ago. She is the author of Reality Bathed in Hope and has studied method writing since 2018. In addition to being a writer and a poet, Mur plays in the space of effortless change with clients all over the world as a master transformative coach. And lastly, I will introduce myself in third person. Jenny Linthorst is the founder of Life Speaks Poetry Therapy, where she works with individuals exploring their personal histories through reading and writing poetry. She is on the faculty of UCLA Arts and Healing and presents workshops nationally. Jenny's poetry has appeared in Bluestem Magazine, Forge, Kaleidoscope, Literary Mama, Mothers Always Write, and more. Her poetry books are Silver Girl and Autism Disrupted, A Mother's Journey of Hope. So, why are we here today? All of the authors in this book were students in level 4 of Jack Grapes' method writing course, led by the teacher Jules Swales. In this level, we explored and wrote from our personal sense of the 7 archetypal muses. Each week, the writers picked one of the 7 muses and wrote from the energy of that muse. What are these 7 archetypal muses? On the feminine side, they are child, virgin maiden, mother, siren seductress whore, huntress, crone hag witch, and Medusa. On the masculine side, they are child, virgin youth, father, siren seducer whore, hunter, wizard sage, and Medusa. Today, you will hear pieces we have written from each muse. To make it fun and exciting, we will not be telling you the muse before we read it, but you will get a chance to vote on the first 3 muses by raising your hand, just your regular hand. You don't need to do the digital hand. We will give you a list of the muses in the chat as we read, so you can be thinking which muse it might be. Then an author will speak to their experience of writing from that particular muse. So let's sit back and be inspired. And next weekend, you will have the opportunity to explore your own experience of the muses in a generative writing workshop led by Vanessa Poster for the Poetry Salon. Let today be an inspiration for what might be inside of you. All right, we're gonna move into the reading. So Neha is going to go ahead and put a list of the muses in the chat. So we'll go ahead and do that again, Neha, just so we have it current. And all of you can have that. So while we're reading, you can be thinking which muse it is, and then I'll lead you through the vote. We're going to begin our first muse with readings from Vanessa Poster and Neha Diaz.
Appointment in Samara. My dad will live 6 more years to be 100, or he will not. Morgan always said, worrying is like praying for something bad to happen. I pray for bad news every day when I look for trip hazards, evidence of cognitive decline, low oxygen levels. If I plan every moment, weave the yarn of every possibility, I know I can outwit the angel of death. Every day, he navigates dangers of standing up from a chair, walking to the bathroom, beating his heart. When I wake up at night, I check the camera I have set on him. I look for movement. When I see breathing, I fall back to sleep. He's alive. Henry, the pig down the street, snaps at beet greens I hold out to him. The sign taped to the fence says that Henry is leaving today to go live with his brother, Tamale, on a farm a few towns over. He's too big for this small enclosure in a front yard in Redondo Beach. His curly tail wags like a dog's as he grabs for greens. He eats them all. I wonder if the whole Tamale story is fake, like telling a child that the dead dog was sent to a farm to chase the ducks. I want it to be true that Henry will stretch his stubby legs in farmyard sun and cuddle up next to Tamale at night to share the scratchy warmth of his brother's hide. I want Henry to live. I am weak and buffeted by my dad's moods, my moods, and x-rays that show he has 2 more broken ribs from a fall in the middle of the night. A fall I did not hear, a fall he hid from me, lying to me when I came down to say good morning. Henry snorts and sighs, lies back down in the shade, oblivious to his fate. He will either be on a paradise farm with Tamale or in someone's Tamale. His fate, my father's fate, are out of my control. I will try to cultivate radical acceptance. Or not. Maybe I'll just go eat a tamale.
Thank you, Vanessa. Now, Neha.
I am the tigress. I play drums in my mind, twirl to make believe music. The tango I dance and salsa too. I love my body, how it moves all on its own. To think I spin the world on its axis would be silly. It happens all on its own, like these words flood out of my head, like the ocean's roar, the shooting star's wonder, the rainbow's pot of gold. I am the tigress. I own the jungle where I roam. My heart rumbles, the earth quakes, sunshine sparkles, moonlight glows, clouds float away. Off I fly on sunset's tide, my magic carpet ride, above the pyramids, golden tops open. I drop into the center of my inner sanctum filled with honey, ensconced in emerald beauty. I am, where violet hums and melodies are made. Mine is made of preciousness. Threads of gold and silver weave into a blessing, mine to receive. With dandelions tied in my hair, timelessness born around my wrists, the Milky Way wrapped about my waist. I step back into the fold and wonder, what's next?
Thank you, Neha. Now we're going to vote. So I can't see everybody, but I'll go slowly. Just raise your hand. Nobody's going to win or anything. It just helps you think. So on those 2 readings, raise your hand for Medusa, Siren Seductress Whore, Child, Mother, Virgin Maiden, Huntress, and Medusa. I couldn't see everybody, but I hope that was fun to just see, whose hands were raised and have you think about it. Now, Vanessa is going to give us the muse and talk a little bit about that one.
So that was the child muse. And what is interesting and why we wanted to do 2 for, we can't do 2 for all of them because we don't have time, but so you could see how different the child muse is for me versus for Neha. And for me, my child muse is out of control, feeling like she wants to be in control, but she has no control over what's around her. And that was the energy that I was writing from. And Neha's was this imaginative journey of a child's mind. And you could see that there is a child energy there, but it's so different for each person. So that the point of the exercise is to find where that energy is in you and the other authors will talk to different muses and how they feel about them.
Thank you, Vanessa. I hope that clarifies some of the mystery for some of you. All right, we're now going to move to the second muse, and we're going to have readings from myself and Myrrh. So I'm going to go ahead and begin. So be listening to these two readings, and then we will vote. We're going to vote 3 times. Okay. This is called Hunger Before the Feast. I hurt in my yearning, a kind of suffering that calcifies into layers of age, tucked away in drawers, rarely opened. The daily barrage of duties flattens me, sucks oxygen from my fire. But the yearning still waits. Yearning pounds a subtle drumbeat underneath. How do I not hear it for so long? It's an old melody, deep in my hips, that surrenders to wonder, to electrical senses, a tingle that follows pelvis to breastbone. I have forgotten how my husband and I used to slow down, get away for a night. There were rituals of slipping into white silk, the feel of my skin in his muscular hands as we swayed to music, his beard on my neck. I need more of this, I told him last night. More of this, slow touch of his fingers, my nails whispering on his back. More of this escape where yearning builds. This is the space that heals me, the space that strips away time, the space that cradles my vows, forces us to look eye to eye at 24 years of time. This is the space where I can soften jagged edges of this past year, know that I am still his girl. Space I can receive his safety before I open and give and give and give and give. I know now this is sustenance in these stale walls of a pandemic, gentle caresses, skin on skin, hunger before a feast. Thank God yearning is still there. I can taste its fruit. I can daydream about another night ahead, closing our bedroom door, Dave Matthews and the Rolling Stones. I will tell him to linger at the sweet in between, here in the slow sway of our dance, here where I am most alive. Okay, now we'll have Myrrh.
Thy will be done. These ancient breathing women wake and stretch beneath my skin. They take me by the shoulders as I look each of them full in the face. I get to be as I am now, untethered. I've come out from behind my own skirt. There's no going back. I am ready to let these goddesses of every feminine face have their way with me. I open my mouth. Ha! It's never been about a man, has it? It's been you, all of you, the whole time. My true loves, all in a row. It's your daggers and nipples and lullabies and bones pushing up through the dirt of my world. It's you strumming my vocal cords and growing my babies. It's you leading me on the dance floor, heating me up and swirling me into adventure. Run your river through me, beloveds. I will not stand in your way. Sway my hips, spread my wings, and loosen my tongue. Wrap my arms around the thundering trees. Fill up my veins with oceans of honey. Plant a vision in my womb and grow it to glory. Crack me open and storm the floodgates in the center of my chest. Place a jeweled dagger in my grip and beat my hammering fists. Throw 6-inch heels and lipstick on me, for God's sake, if you must. And at the end of the day, come dance with me in the firelight as we move our feet to the rhythm of the fireflies and the drumbeat of the apes. Melt the earth's madness with your feast of all-consuming grace. Milk me for all the love I'm worth until the fire dies and you lay me to rest in a field of lilies. I am back at the door of beginnings, suspended and swimming in the alchemy. There is nothing left to smother or shame. I am terrified awake and shining, I step off into thin air.
Thank you, Mer. Okay, we're going to have a fun little vote. Raise your hand if you think those were from the energy of Medusa, Siren Seductress Whore, Child, Mother, Virgin Maiden, Huntress, Crone Hag Witch. Okay, a little variety there from the ones I can see. All right, now Mer is going to tell us what muse that was and a little bit about her experience with it.
So I saw a few hands go up for the Virgin Maiden muse. And for me, this piece came after a big epiphany, after a conversation with my writing teacher. And she pointed to the fact that I kept dancing around what I was trying to say. And I didn't realize it till she said it. And in that moment, I realized I don't just do that in my writing, I do that in my whole life. Like I take all these movements in me and try to manage them and control them and make them more palatable before they come out. And so for me, this was a declaration of I'm getting out of the way and I'm going to trust all these archetypes, all these muses that live in me and see where they take me. So that's what this was about for me.
Thank you, Mer. All right, we're going to move into our third muse and the last one that we will vote on, but still I want everyone to be thinking while we hear the readings. For our next muse, we will have Neha and Mer reading, and I'll let Neha go ahead.
You skipped.
Yeah, we skipped one, but I
Did
can.
we?
Yeah.
Are we on number 3? Oh, we're
Yes.
on number 3. I'm sorry. Thank you. Okay. The next muse is readings by Vanessa and myself. Okay. Thank you, Neha. That would have really thrown me. And we will vote on this one as well. Okay. So, Vanessa.
Dead people's words. I can't throw this journal away, John says. We are sorting through his dead wife's things. We have been married 6 months. To combine our households, we must read the notes, diaries, college papers of our dead spouses and decide. We honor our dead in loving each other. It is a pilot light of honor, burning, not consuming. I dreamt last night I was wearing my dead husband's shirt, the maroon long sleeve I wear when it's chilly. Morgan holds me. I cry, wanting to love him just one more day. In the dream, I take off the shirt and embrace it, naked bosomed, holding empty cooling cloth with no living heart. I don't cry awake anymore. A parent can love 2 children. I love 2 men. With Morgan, it was a word dance, a balance of understanding. Together, we taught classes for women on how to find love, living the example of it. He spoke his advice, his truth, in the lower register of a man, talking from testosterone awareness, translating into female vocabulary. With John, I silence his word flow with a kiss. A lawyer, practical, solid, fierce, devoted. When I walk into a room, I warn him that I am sparkling, so he can continue to breathe when he turns around. It is a practice, like writing or yoga, to learn how to feel this happiness. I watch fire from the edge, darkness behind me, sparks in front of me. I don't want to drop the shirt into flame. I keep shelves and shelves of Morgan's journals, his agency of living, meaningful only to me. John and I sort through boxes and files and photos, trash, recycling, waste. It should all be burned. Then we see a spark of a human we each once loved, had dinner with, sat with in an emergency room. A handwritten word in someone's shape of letters, uniquely theirs, holding a piece of them. Let me put that here, I say, and place her journal in a plastic weather-safe box.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right. This is called I Wanted to Give What I Had Not Gotten. Our neighbor's Peruvian pepper tree drapes her ribbons behind my bedroom window. I like to pretend that it's a weeping willow of my Tennessee roots, remembering how they called to me in my youth, planted next to ponds, riverbanks, and lush green grass. Those sweeping leaves dripped like tears during a rainfall. Somehow nature understood the depth of our human condition, created a majestic crown to pause and see the rise and fall of our days. I knew at a young age that I had an old soul. After the slow death of my mother, I honed a keen sense, a light behind my eyes that could peer into darkness. I was not afraid to hold a hand of the dying, to ask more questions of love abandoned, to pick up my friend at the end of her driveway while her alcoholic father lay passed out on the floor. I wanted to give what I had not gotten, the gentle hand stroking my back, stroking my hair at the end of a long day, stroking the embers of good enough, and it will be okay. That's all we really want, a kind place to heal. Nothing felt better to me than filling that void for my friends. I learned to listen for the hollow places that needed sustenance. I learned to cook their favorite meals, build a house to invite them in with warm colors, warm beds, warm fireplaces to sit out their tempests. I learned how to read them the right poem, how to play the perfect song, how to pause their pain for hours with a palette of paint, an empty canvas, and play. When I was pregnant with my son, I rested a hand under the curve of my belly, ready to hold him, ready to lift the weight of him, ready to understand the voyage of this bloodline. I can see glimpses of my eyes in his grown face. As he moves into manhood, I need someone to sit with me under the weeping willow, someone to witness the tears of this passage, someone to tell me I have done enough and that he will be okay. Okay, now we will vote one more time. I'm back on track. So, all right, let me go back to the list here. All right, what do you think? Were these Medusa, Siren Seductress Whore, Child, Mother, Virgin Maiden, Huntress, or Crone Hag Witch? All right, Vanessa is going to share with us about this news.
So a lot of you got that one right. It was Mother, Katie, not Huntress. You can change it to gallery view so you can see everybody, but we're not voting again. So anyway, my mother energy, and another thing that's interesting about these muses is I am not physically a mother. I have not had any children. Jenny has. And you can see the subtle differences in our mother muses, that mine is about loving two men equally, because you have mothers who have a lot of children love all of their children, but they love them differently. So that was where my energy was coming from. And Jenny's energy, she lost her mother at a young age, and then wanting that nurturing, wanting that energy and giving that to other people. So you can see how those energies flow differently, but in a similar way with us. And your mother energy might be completely different based on your own mothering experience, based on what your concept of mothering is, but it's not about necessarily being a mother. So it's another one of those mysteries of the muses. Thanks.
Nice, well said. Okay, we're moving on to number 4 now. So for this muse, we have Neha and Mur reading, and we're not going to vote, but be looking at that list and thinking about it, and then we'll tell you what it is, so you can have your own little experience about that. All right, Neha.
Kali, There was no turning back, no forward momentum. I trusted nothing, no one, least of all myself. I withered away one wisp at a time. I folded in layer after layer, year after year, time after time. I fused into the gray. Joy stripped away. It didn't exist. An illusion, I believed, so it dissolved. No one came to play. Puzzles, books, undone, unread, untouched, unloved. An unlived tapestry with loose saffron threads, pulled and frayed with age. Beyond blue twilight lay a secret in stardust, but I couldn't open its fortune. With eyes alive, the time arrived to listen and obey, to let the crimson sunset whisper the way. I followed her fiery descent. Go downward, she said. Go inward toward the last glimmer of light, dreams, and play. Go. Yes, go that way.
Thank you, Neha. Now, Myrrh.
Midnight soup. I am alone at last. Standing at the hearth with my feet planted in the warm wooden floor, I stir my midnight soup of stars. Burdock root and onion, garlic and butternut, serenity, salt, and solitude. The stench of seriousness is buried and gone. The bones of fear are dust in the sky. No more illusion, no more fluff, no more authority, no more handcuffed obedience, no more intestines twisted around a crucible of guilt, no more suits and silent dresses to smother the smell of Mother Earth standing naked in the garden. The dawn hits her like a prism, showering in circles on the glassy water. Her fire glows in the deep valleys of my skin, muscling the cacophony of testicle-flavored righteousness to its knees. Only the arms of the trees are righteous here, where the flavor of God is always on my tongue. She is stirring my veins, stirring my blood, stirring my holy soup. I stir for the weary until they are ready to come. They will come. They will swim to the limits of their longing. They will fall down, empty their bodies, and let their clothes of heaviness fall. I will not force them to open their mouths, but my ladle waits, steaming and tipped, ready to pour the golden juice down into their hungry bellies. Fullness bubbles over the edge of the pot and onto my speckled feet. It rises up to the cradle of my hips, fills my belly and chest, and rivers out my fingers. I wave my arms to make it dance. This body is free, a hawk that spreads and lifts on a whim. No resistance, no ache, no fight, only love in wrinkled grins, free to laugh and cry and dance and roar as I sprinkle the world with my womb of diamonds. Lifetimes of souls breathe easy in the hollow of my breast as I stir my soup of butternut stars with a spoon of fern and moonlight.
Thank you, Myrrh. All right, Neha is going to share with us what the muse was and her experience of that.
So if you haven't already, just take a moment to consider the 7 and which one you think it might be. And I'll share with you that it is the crone hag witch muse that we just both wrote from. And what I love when you hear more than one person share from a muse is just how different they can be. And mine was written about 1.5 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And in listening to Myrrh's, I heard the witch. When I wrote mine, I know for me it was the crone. And I think I was influenced by my teacher talking about, although we access the muse energy, it doesn't mean that we're writing, for example, from a child muse, doesn't mean we have to write about childhood. We're writing about now, whatever is true for us now from that energy. But she had said that when she wrote for her crone, she wrote from her future deathbed. And I think that influenced me into feeling the feeling of what that time might look like at the end of life. And the coolest thing about all of these energies is that they surprise me each and every time. And I'm actually excited to do them all again, because what came out a year and a half ago or 2 years ago spoke to me then and taught me something for that time. And I'm curious what would show up now from that same energy of what is the lesson now from that energy. And again, crone, hag, witch, sage, wizard. So there's so many different flavors to this one, I think, to explore, not just a singular path. So something to think about. Thank you.
Nice. Yes, well said, Neha. Okay, we're now moving into muse number 5, and we have Vanessa and myself reading for this muse. And we're not going to vote, but we'll do what we just did. Okay, Vanessa.
On the ship, I hear noises, a voice, music banging with rhythm and silk, a pulling, dancing. Sailors watch, but do not touch. My skin traces air, does not separate me from the universe. When I dance, I know her, my temptress. I learned her from imitation, practice, rehearsal. I embody the best choreography through cheers and screams, the gorgeous from my sensei. We assume our skin and must be taught its power. I was in siren school for many years before they allowed me up on deck. Now I teach the acolytes. Let me list the things I know. I crave the power of the climb. I devour rhythm and silk. I am resilient. The confident woman has the strongest pull. I fit inside myself. My skin is not a boundary of texture. My skin connects. Here on the ship, we are safe. Out there, they take away breasts, clitoris, hair. They cover skin, even eyes. Our lure too strong. My canals are dry, tight, never having birthed, never having owned another human. But my rhythm silk skin is permeable membrane connecting pleasure to ocean, to air, and if I can be brave, to other skin.
Thank you. All right, this is called The Yes Girl. I used to believe I would die young like my mother. There was a ticking clock counting to age 39, filling me with a fuck it all attitude. Cancer will get me anyways. I was different from the usual college student wanting to break the rules. I wanted to consume life's terrain all at once, live it hard on a risky edge, taste the bitter and the sweet. I was the yes girl who would ditch classes in upstate New York, hop on a plane to New Orleans to catch last days of Mardi Gras with old high school friends, the one to order one more round of shots, one more deep talk about what it all means, one more kiss to keep it alive. I was the one who'd still be sitting on a Key West dock at sunrise, opening another pack of Camel Lights with a lukewarm beer. I lived like I was saying a slow goodbye, hoarding pieces of a life into my memory. Men were a playground of catch and release. I lured them into corners of parties, locked eyes, had soulful conversations, probing their character, their past, their cracks, then nurtured them with my Southern drawl. It's kind of shocking to me now as I sit here, a rule-following, white-knuckling mother and wife, stuck in suburbia, remembering that freedom. I didn't die at 39. I've almost made it to 50. There is a sexy kind of freedom waiting for us in under 2 years when our only son leaves for college, crowded with visions of renting our house and living in Barcelona for 6 months. But will my fire still be lit for a bit of danger? We'll figure it out, my husband always says when my fears stomp on her dreams. He fell in love with the dreamer in me 24 years ago on a San Francisco rooftop, listened to my plans to save the world with the arts. I consumed him with that same fever. I need him to remind me of her, remind me that there's life beyond these safe, manicured streets, remind me that the clock is ticking and it's okay. No, it's important to say yes. Okay, so I hope you were looking at the list to kind of see what you think those were. And I'm going to speak to this muse. So this muse was the siren seductress whore. And for me, this was really interesting. This is the second time I've taken the Muses, the Muse level with a different teacher this time. And for me, it was about wanting to look at where does the energy of this muse live? And what is that energy and where has it lived in my life and where is it now? And for me, this energy was very much about danger and risk and this all consumingness. And when I started to pay attention through the writing to that, it then is the deeper questions, the transformation line stuff of method writing of, where does this come from? How is this the story of my life and losing my mother and wanting to live it hard? So then I wanted to ask, where did that live? Where did I have that? And it was that younger yes girl. But then looking at how do I feel about it now? And I wanted more of her in my life today. So the Muses really take you through that kind of peeling back the onion of where these muses live inside us. So that was a great exercise for me. Okay. All right, now we are on number 6. Okay, and we're going to go down to just one reading per muse for these last ones just to save time. So our 6th muse, we're going to have a reading from Myrrh.
My kingdom will come. The pain is loud in the waking quiet. I lie still under the covers, watching her crawl into my neck and shoulders and down into my hips. She spreads her shiny hard wings, gearing up for a full day's ride. I breathe and lick my wounds. I am hungry, hungry to leave the castle, hungry for my kingdom. I cannot untangle the hunger from the hurt. They are both obstinate. They both beat through my body like a drum. They both call me out beyond the domesticated woman I have become and into the wild. I try to bury them, quiet them, ignore them, heal them, or feed them to the wolves, but they will not let go. My kingdom calls to me. It is not in this house, in this aching body, or in this bed. When moonlight comes, I wander, cradled in a woolen blanket and bare feet. My body weeps as there are no more reasons to muzzle my discontent. I meet her, the medicine woman. We sit on the cool earth. She holds my wet face in her gnarled hands and fills my pockets of ache with moonlight. My cramped up lungs breathe. Her obsidian eyes whisper to me, the pain will quiet. The hunger will be fed. You will find what you hunt, far, far away and in this castle of blood and bone. We sit in silence as moon dust sifts down through my skin and lights the next step in front of me. I move in the light. I follow the drumbeat. I run with the wolves. I move through the pain, and because of the pain, I am steeped in the knowing of what calls to me, a siren in my heart that floods the rest of me with juice and muscle. And when the pain overtakes, I stop. I rest with this dragon, the one only I can see and feel beneath my skin. I lay down my sword, open my lonely eyes and drink her in. I touch her hard, wet scales and breathe in her aches of smoke and flame. I curl up beside her and let her troubled anger stretch wide in the arms of what shelters us both in the wind. I can hear the wind. It's whispering to me, my kingdom will come. My kingdom will come. My kingdom will come.
Thank you, Myrrh. And now you're going to speak to the muse.
Yeah, so may be obvious, but this was the Huntress muse. And I think the cool thing about exploring writing from muses is that it's an invitation to step beyond anything about your story about yourself. And early on in my music experience, I let myself do that. Just leave it behind and live in the imagination of almost what the muse wants to say, not what I want to say about it or from it. And this was one of those experiences for me of just diving into that place of me that's untamed, that will never be a proper wife and mother. And interestingly enough, when I was there, what showed up was my experience of chronic pain. And so in a lot of ways, it was an exploration of how they're intermingled and intertwined and the mystery of that. So this was a really cool one for me.
Thank you, Myrrh. Okay, we're down to our last one. All right, Neha is going to do one reading from this, and then she will explain the muse and talk about it.
Time is dead. Tick tock. Time is dead. My heartbeat slows. I'm locked in a land of no thingness. A sandstorm descends. In its grip, grimy particles of earth swirl into my mouth, my eyes, my bones. No sign of life. The empty sky turns to ash. No horizon, a singular haze. No time. I'm lost again. I would cry if I could, but tear ducts remain barren as the land. My body ravaged, yet I cling to myself. I drag this body on elbows, knees, to find life, some semblance of me. A drop will do. Tick, tock. Dark night will be my salve, moonlight my balm. There are no decisions left. I am, like time, sky, earth, or rain. Death lingers at the periphery, at the edge beyond now. I see him, but there's no fight to be had. I, who once fought for a living, admit it was all for naught. Tick, there is no past. Tock, there is no future. The sun sets. I'm still here.
Thank you, Neha. Will you speak to this muse?
Yes, so this was our final muse. So if you haven't guessed, it's Medusa. This one was probably one of the richest experiences I had. And I think it was because I had to drop out of my concept of Medusa, who I thought Medusa was. You look up an image, you look her up, you see fire and brimstone and turning people into stone and wildness. And for me, it was letting myself settle into a deeper level. For me, she was weary. She was weary from the fight. And she surprised, this one was really probably one of the most powerful ones because it just was beyond thought and deep inside my body, and allowing her to speak, as weary as it sounds, was refreshing, was to give her space to speak and come through me. And yeah, so that was another piece. If you do Vanessa's workshop next week, is just let yourself be surprised and go beyond the thought of what any of these muses might appear to be to what they truly deeply might be revelatory for you.
Thank you, Neha. Yes, it's a great segue into next week's class to come and explore writing on and where are these muses inside you and in your writing. So thanks everyone for being our audience and listening. And you can find the book on Amazon, Stories from the Muses, and hear from the other writers. There's 14 of us in the book. And if you want to explore all the levels of method writing, Jack Grapes, our teacher, was with Jules Swale. She offers them all online on Zoom. You can look her up. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Tricia to lead us into the rest of our day today. But thank you.
I wanted to just say a quick thing about the workshop next week. So you sign up with Tricia, and I'll do an overview of all the muses, and you've had a little overview today, so you have a little bit of a heads up on that if you're going to be taking the workshop. I put my email in the chat if you want to get information directly from me about any of my writing classes. You can email me, and I will send you a free prompt if you send me an email. And if you want to let me know that you want the workshop next week, I will sign you up with Tricia with that. And one thing I wanted to say about buying this book, the Muse book, and thank you, whoever put the link in the chat. The link to buy the book on Amazon is in the chat. And listening to them, I have now listened to them a number of times. Every time is different. Listening, reading is completely different than listening. And it's worth it to have the book in front of you to see all of the different authors, all the different ways that people have explored these muses. But I just want to thank my fellow authors today. We did a whole straight rehearsal reading to each other, and it was awesome. And then it's even more awesome today, the second time hearing them, even just a few days ago. And I love this level, and I think that you will too. So try it next week.
Absolutely. And thank you, all of you, for being here. And yes, I know there are another 10 writers who aren't represented here. So everyone, you've got to get the book in order to get the other 10 writers, the whole collection of 14 writers. And I wanted to say a couple things. First of all, if you're thinking, hey, I might want this prompt and I might want to hear more from Vanessa, don't wait until later. You can kind of tune me out and just send her an email now. That's why we do things on Zoom, so you can multitask that way. Also, I will say that if you want to do the same with us and you want to get on our mailing list, we provide workshops that are mainly free every Sunday, and then one Sunday a month we do a paid workshop with a specialty guest. This month it is with Vanessa Poster, who's teaching us about the Muses. Next month, our featured reader on September 11th will be Ellen Bass. And unfortunately, Ellen can't do a workshop with us, but we are going to have another poet doing a workshop on the work of Ellen Bass. So if she's a favorite of yours, as she is certainly a favorite of mine, please come to the reading with her. That's free. Workshops are an affordable, I hope affordable, $25 for a 3-hour class. So if you want to find out more about that and get the links to the Ellen Bass reading and other fun and affordable events, please message me, Tricia, at thepoetrysalon.com.